Welcome back to another episode here on the Inkwell Lounge. I'm your host, Chris, aka Questing for Lore, and in this week's episode, I'm kicking off a new series that spotlights Disney Lorcana content creators that are just starting out, but ones you should definitely check out: the emerging Illumineers. In this first episode in the series, I talked with Nichole about how she got started with Lorcana, her Instagram content over on the Glimmer Gallery, and some of the creative ways she catalogs and stores her cards. Ready? Let's go.
Well, hey, Nichole, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing pretty good myself. It's a beautiful day outside here in Northwest Montana, so we haven't had very many of those lately. So
Yeah.
always puts you in a good mood, right? So
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Very good.
Well, I appreciate you joining me. And doing it kind of last minute notice. I never know, if the people that I want to reach out to are going to have time when I reach out to them. But I guess it just worked out this time. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely appreciate you spending the time
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. No, it's my
Um,
pleasure. I'm super happy to be here, and I'm grateful that you asked me to be a part of it. So
Yeah, of course. And just so you know, you haven't seen the intro, so you'll see it whenever the video comes out. But this is actually my first episode in a series that I'm doing called Emerging Illumineers. So
okay.
it's focusing on smaller content creators that have kind of just joined the community, are still kind of building their audience, and really, really getting out there. Now, I know you've been on a couple of other shows, so I don't know if
Yeah.
it technically counts, but we'll talk about that in a
Yeah.
little bit. But
Yeah.
but yeah, no. So you're kind of kicking off that series. So just as an
Cool.
FYI for what's coming. Um,
Nice.
so one of the things I like to do at the very beginning is kind of getting people's origin stories with Lorcana and any other TCGs they might have played. So how did you find out about Lorcana? What was your first set that you played in? Give
Yeah.
me the details.
Yeah. So I am pretty darn new. I started back in February of this year, of 2026. And I feel like with other TCGs that my friends have collected and things like that, I was like, man, there needs to be a Disney one. Why isn't there a Disney one? This is like, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, maybe more. And but then fast forward, and then I saw like kind of hints of Disney Lorcana TCG, and I was like, well, finally, that's pretty cool. And when it was finally released, we were in a season of life where we just bought a house, and I was like, not happening. It's like we can't.
It
I
is
was
an
like,
expensive hobby. Yes. Yeah.
and it's a slippery slope too, right? Like it goes
Oh
pretty
yeah.
quick. So, um, my husband, he's into another TCG, and he like just in the last like I don't know year-ish, he's kind of reignited that spark again. He collected when he was younger. Our daughter's into this other one, and so they've kind of been getting into collecting. He's been like, "Hey, are you willing to wait in line for drops and stuff?" And I was like, "Sure." And then I mentioned to him earlier this year, I was like, if I could see myself really getting into Disney Lorcana. Like I
Hmm.
know it's out there. I've seen stuff floating around at Target and Best Buy and whatnot. And um, then on Valentine's Day, he gave me an Elsa gift box, and so that
Oh,
was my
nice.
first little set. And I was just like, oh my! I was just like so enamored, and I knew I would be because I have a background in art. I grew up like every birthday, Christmas, something Disney, something creative. Every single time someone gifted something to me. So yeah, so that's kind of where it started, and then from there, I started with Winter Spell.
Mhm.
It was
Okay.
technically I think that was kind of like the reveal season of Winter Spell, but I had no idea like what's reveal season. Like I am brand spanking new to like
Yeah.
TCGs, to be honest. Like I've known they were out there, but I have never like played. I've never collected them. I feel like maybe once upon a time when I was like in grade school, someone might have gifted me like a cute one or something, but I was
Hmm.
like, oh, like it's so cute. That's it. That
That's
was the
nice.
extent.
Yeah.
Like visually,
Yeah.
like the visuals are nice, right? And but that was pretty much the extent of my TCG experience. Disney Lorcana has definitely shifted that quite a bit. I have started to learn. I'm definitely more of a collector than a player. But yeah, I can talk all day about the artwork. I love diving into the shape language and analyzing cards. Like I do a series on my Instagram about
Mhm.
like what good designs happening. I try to explain a little bit about shape language and design principles and stuff. But sometimes I think I geek out so hard that I'm like, you guys see this? And I just kind of get so excited. That's like a child like stammering, like, ah. And anyway, so yeah, that's where I started. So I'm new to TCGs, new to Disney Lorcana, but long time avid fan of art and design of Disney and with my education and background. So
Nice,
yeah,
nice. Yeah, actually, to be honest, that was kind of one of the reasons that I wanted to have you on. I
cool.
spent a lot of time when I was younger doing art kind of things. I even majored in it
Nice,
in college. And
nice.
so whenever I find somebody that appreciates the art of the cards and appreciates,
Yes,
how much work goes into it and everything, I always like want to connect with them and be like, yeah, let's geek
yeah,
out a little bit. So
yes, yeah.
um, so, actually, before we get into it too much, I mean, I guess it is kind of into it a little bit. For people that are not familiar with the term shape language, can you kind
Mm.
of explain that real quick and how it kind of relates to the cards?
Yeah, so it stems from kind of like in filmmaking or animation and cartoons where they will base a character on a certain shape. So, for example, like in Disney Pixar's Up, we've got Russell who's like really round shape and he goes with
Mhm.
the flow and he can roll with the punches, right? And then there's Mr. Fredricksen and he's kind of more of a blocky square shape. He's kind of like stubborn and stuck in his ways. He doesn't really roll and go with the flow as well. So Disney and other animation studios, they follow this principle of shape language pretty closely so that you get a little bit more of the story, you get a little bit more of the character and their personality and their traits, right? So we're using a lot of visuals and basic shapes to convey those messages and those stories and personalities. And Disney Lorcana likewise has done that as well, but with the inks. So the
Mhm.
inks, each ink color has a specific shape assigned to it, and those shapes or that shape language appears somewhere within each illustration or glimmer. And so sometimes it's within like the character or the pose, sometimes it's just like a little symbol. For example, like a really popular one with steel is like their shape is a square. And so you'll see a lot of blocks or rocks and stones, especially in Wilds Unknown. They have a lot of floating boulders. Like that's one of their big like shape language cues. And I love geeking out about it because once you like learn about the shape language, it's kind of like you're finding a hidden Mickey, and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
there it
yeah,
is. Like,
yeah.
oh, I see it. Like, oh, okay. And typically it plays its part in the storytelling, right? Like we know
Mhm.
Disney Lorcana is all about telling the story of lore and how the Glimmers come together to defeat, some villain or antagonist, right? But this all plays into the storytelling, and it's just really cool to like look into and geek out about a little bit. So yeah,
Yeah.
I can go on and on. I'm trying to share
We could
more
just fill
content
the whole
about.
time with that. Yeah.
Right? Like I could go through like each ink color and be like, "Oh, do you see this?" Or like if you pull up a card, I'll be like, "I think I you could probably cover up the ink color," and I could be like, "It's that ink," and I could probably figure it out without having seen the color at all. So yeah.
So yeah, on the art side of things, I remember I think it was Gen Con, like the
Mm,
first time, or it might have been like the second year or something, where they actually had a slide where they showed like some of the shape language, and it was like,
mm,
amber is kind of the weaving ribbons, and I'm looking at
yeah.
it right here. I'm not quoting it from memory, trust me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like amethyst is kind of a little bit more like circles and points and not
Mm,
really anything straight, and it's really cool to see how they've incorporated that into the cards, like you said, whether it's the actual character or the background,
mm-hmm.
even into the enchanted. There's ones that kind of like follow the same kind of shape language, but it also matches the same style as the rest of the Enchanteds, which I would think would be really difficult, for somebody like an art director to come in and say,
Yeah.
okay, I have to adhere to these things, but I also want to make them all this style. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. That would be interesting. I have a lot of respect for the artists that put these things together. I've
Yeah.
had the opportunity to meet some of them at DLCs, and it's really cool to get to talk to them. And some of them are a
Yeah.
little bit more chatty than others, so
Hmm.
they're happy to kind of describe some of the process and everything. But yeah, it's always cool to connect with them. So
Yeah. Yeah. I've only been to one event, and it was the Glimmer Games in
mhm.
Roseville. And who was it that was there? It was Heidi Neuenhofer and Brian Weiss was there. And
Oh,
um,
nice.
I I had to like resist just hogging their booth because I'm like, tell me all the things.
It's
And I
like,
know they can only say so much, right? Like with the
right.
non-disclosure
Yeah.
agreements and whatnot. But I was like apologizing every time I would go to. I'm like, oh, sorry, you've got customers. Hang on, I'll be back. Don't worry. Like
Yeah, you're just making the
I'm
loop
like,
over and
yeah,
over.
pretty
It's like,
much. I
so
was just like,
we
I'm here
we left
again.
off here,
Yeah.
and let's continue the yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so I tried really hard to be like, okay, give them their space, don't act like a psycho. So, but yeah, I was just talking to a friend though, and I'm like, ah, man, that would be really cool to be a fly on the wall during those conversations and revisions with like the illustrator and the art director, and even like costume designers or
hmm
the narration team and stuff like that, the narrative team and whatnot. And there's just so many just moving parts that are put into one single glimmer. And I'm like, how are they creating hundreds of these
I
every
know,
single
right?
year? And I'm just like it's pretty phenomenal. And I think I heard a number somewhere. I don't remember where. Don't quote me on it, but they have something like 600 plus artists that they work with.
Oh my
And I'm like,
gosh.
that is so many people. And
Yeah.
anyway, and they keep onboarding new ones too, or
hmm
they keep anyway. It's just kind of cool. It's really cool to hear
Yeah.
about it. And again, someday I'd love to be on the inside. That'd be so fun.
That would be cool. I have to admit, even like you said, even just a fly on the wall, not even like
Yeah,
participating, just to
yeah.
hear the conversations. And and since they have the different art directors for each of the different sets, it's
Hmm.
really cool to see kind of that I guess style, for lack of a better term, kind of
Yeah.
introduced in the Enchanteds and in some of the actual cards, because they're
Yes.
they're kind of guiding the whole set. It's really easy to forget that they're not just doing the Enchanted slice.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's really interesting to see, especially talking to some of the artists. You show them the card and they're like, I don't know what this card does. I don't understand why it's, what does support mean? What does, alert
Yeah.
mean? They're just
Yeah.
focused on the art piece of it. And it's really cool to see, when we've been fortunate enough to get like extended art things, we
Hmm.
get some of the play mats, we get some of the larger poster kind of things.
Yes.
To see like the full piece is really cool.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because sometimes it makes it even more impressive in my opinion. Like the Jafar mat and the Ursula mat and everything that, we got
Yes.
that full perspective. It was crazy. Some of those are incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. So much talent and so much time put into them. And it's just, yeah, it's like you're saying, it baffles me too how well they create them for different formats. Like you get the
Mhm.
playmat, and then the cards are like, eek, eek, just like
I
so
know, right?
tiny. And you're just like, how did you cram all this detail into it? And then you get to appreciate it on a new level, like
Mhm.
in different formats and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm hoping someday they keep pushing that so the art gets like the love and appreciation that it deserves. Like I hope they do more like merch and products and books and
Mhm.
stories and I don't know, like let's do a series of like a show or something, a TV series of just like
Yeah.
the whole lore and narration. I'm like, let's really like dump all the love we can into the artwork and like get it out into the world. So yeah,
Yep. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. That would be really interesting to do like a behind the
yeah.
scenes kind of, I know they do. Thankfully they've started doing that, in the lorecast or the release,
Hmm.
lorecast, wherever they had the first,
Yes.
official thing about it. But they only do like one card or two cards, and I'm like, I want more. I want I want to
Yes.
know, the process, like from the artist's perspective. That would be
Yeah.
awesome to be like, what was your process? How did you start?
Right.
what inspired you to make the character look this way? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
all custom, right? It's not
Yeah.
just like screenshots from movies or anything. And
Yeah.
to have that level of inspiration and not like, see, I like to geek out about this stuff too, so no worries about you talking too much. But no, and it's cool to like look at the cards and see a breadth of cards from a certain artist, and you're like, oh, okay, I get their style. I get where
Mm-hmm.
they're coming from on this stuff, and they kind of incorporate that kind of style regardless of the
Yeah.
set. Because you
Yeah.
have stuff like Whispers where it was a little bit darker. And then you have Winter
Mm-hmm.
Spell, which was, this bright, happy snow place, but they still,
Yes.
the style still matches, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever seen the Creative Mainstream on the Disney Lorcana Discord channel?
Yes. Yeah. I
Okay.
didn't get to watch the last one, but I've tried to be pretty
Yeah.
faithful about watching those. So,
Yeah. I feel like that is probably one of the best places to get the creative insight. But even then, I'm like, give me more. Like,
I
I
know,
want
right?
more. Or like,
It's like an hour.
I was,
It's just a little
yeah, I
slice.
know. I'm
Yeah.
like, go more. And I was probably annoyingly involved in the chat for this last one because they were talking all about like Art Nouveau and Lore Nouveau and
Yes.
whatnot
Yeah.
and that artistic style. And people were like, what is it? And I'm like, oh, let me show you. Like, here's a screenshot of this. And it's a little proud moment because some of the moderators in there. And they're like, "Oh yeah, you're right on. Like you got it." Like Nichole from the Glimmer, like you did. Yeah, good job. Yes, that's correct. And I'm like, yes.
Putting that
I was like
experience to good work
getting
and,
the approval, yeah, from the moderators and like being involved. Like I was just in my element. So I was just like,
yeah.
this is so cool. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun, fun space.
Yeah, I was hoping so. Oh, they're like underneath some stuff down here, but the art books that they put out, or the lore books, I guess, is what they're
Yeah.
technically called. I when I first saw them, I had high hopes that it would have this kind of stuff. It's got a little bit of
Yes.
like the background of the cards and all that, but then there's so much of it that's just like a card catalog in the back.
Yeah.
I was hoping for this kind of level of detail, right? You have
Yeah.
a set, you have 30 different artists. I don't know how many are in each set.
Yeah.
There's so many stories there, and I would love to hear those stories and love to hear
Yes.
their perspectives and everything. um
Yeah.
you know I mean,
I think
honestly,
we
even just
need
like a little 5-minute video clip of here's what inspired me would be
something.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would be really cool, like how animation studios do like art of insert film title, right? They
Yeah.
should do like an
Yeah.
art of Disney Lorcana everything. Like that
Mhm.
would be, I would be all over that. I'd be like, yes, number one,
you
pre-order right
you
here.
could narrate the show. That's what you need to do.
There you go.
Lorcana
Be
folks,
the be the
Ravensburger, if you're
host.
listening, you've got a host right here that knows her stuff. So,
Yeah.
if you're looking,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
FYI.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
plug that in.
I know, right? Oh, actually, so I saw something interesting on your Instagram. So is it the Michi method? Is that how you say it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
hadn't seen
that's
that before.
so that's something that's pretty dang new to me too.
Mhm.
So when I very first started collecting, I started using a three ring binder and your like regular sleeves, and of course all the love in the world from all of the longtime collectors were like, don't do it, like don't
Yeah,
do it, like put it.
no ring binders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, I'm just getting started. I'm using what I've got here. I've got a
Hmm.
binder. My family's got some of these sleeves. This is what we're using. And then as I grow my collection, I'll upgrade, with time and whatnot. And so, but that so there's these planners called like the Happy Planner or like the disc bound planners, and
Hmm.
they're a little bit more creative ways to like do planning and stickers and markers and scrapbooky stuff and whatnot. And I was like, that's what I want to do with Disney Lorcana, like trading cards and stuff. And then a couple other creators like Jen Chanted and Missy Enchanted were like the Michi method, and I was like, what? what is this? And they're like putting postcards and like dividers and other kind of,
Hmm.
cards that align with a certain theme of a spread or a page. And I was just like, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. This is like the scrapbooky Disney
Hmm.
Lorcana. Because, I've asked people like, how do you organize your cards? And a lot of them are like focused on playing, like playability and like how they
Hmm.
organize the deck and like what inks they're gonna play, right? And so they'd be like, oh, do it by set first, and then ink color, and then this, and then I was like, that sounds so boring. I mean, no hate to the players. I totally
Yeah.
understand why you would organize it that way, right? But I'm like, the little creative soul in me is just like, oh, I think I just withered a little bit inside. And then when Michi Method came, I was like, yes, like, let's
Hmm.
do this. And so I got so into it. Like, I spent like an entire evening. First, I ordered a new binder that came like same day just for the Michi method. And then I started just like sorting all my cards into like 20 different categories and films that were my favorites. And you can do anything from like a film, or you could do like, I have some that are like seasons, like which one looks summery, or like an ode to certain inks. Like one spread is one ink, another one is like pink. So if it's like a pink hued design, what was another one that I had that was kind of different? Or like you could do dogs or cats or certain animal and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, but the goal is to just have fun with it. And I've been using origami paper for my postcard inserts because I don't have a
Hmm.
lot of um, art at this moment for it. I'm hoping to create my own art. I know there's other people. I don't know where people are getting their artwork because I think the Michi method is primarily for another TCG.
Hmm.
That's where it like stems from, and I don't know where the artwork is coming from. So I'm like, I want to be safe. I want to like make
Yeah.
sure credit goes where it's due. So
Hmm.
I've been kind of looking at some of the artists, their own online shops and stuff, and seeing, I'm like, oh, what do you have like that could maybe play on this Michi method? So but yeah, it's just a really fun, creative way to organize your cards. That's a little bit more playful, a little bit more fun. Um, and it just got me super stoked. I think I started that binder like maybe 10 days ago. Like it's still like really
Nice.
fresh for me. And I'm like, I want to do more, and I need to like start cutting out like scrapbooking paper and inserting it, or like, oh, this paper would be good for this theme or this spread here. And so but yeah, so that it's just another way of like collecting and getting excited about it. And then, when you're flipping through it at night, it's like, it's just the happy space, the happy
Yeah.
zone, right? It's like
Yeah.
looking at it all finished and beautiful spreads. So yeah,
Yeah, I imagine it's probably the same level of satisfaction that like a, a collector that's organizing by number or something
yeah,
has all of the full set, and then they're like flipping through the pages and there's not any
hmm
empty spots. And
yes, yeah,
I've been there too.
yeah,
I'm a very like, linear kind of person, to be
hmm
honest. And so, I am one of those people that like when I organize my binders, it's by number, and so
yeah,
I get one of the regular and one of the foil for each one. And so I fill out my
yeah,
binder that way.
like master
Um,
set.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
it takes a little while just because, and there's a lot of singles ordered, usually foils,
yeah,
but it is a
yeah,
certain level of satisfaction to, to have that
uh-huh.
stuff filled out. But I love this idea. I love the idea of the Michi
Yeah,
method, and having the flexibility to be like, like you said, I'm going to make it about dogs, not the dogs
hmm
deck. Nobody, don't avoid the
yeah,
dogs
don't
deck.
come at us.
Yeah, not that. Let's stick with cats. Let's stick with other animals.
Yeah, dogs are getting a
But
little pressure.
yeah, yeah, a little testy right now. But to be able to have that and kind of make it a little bit more of a creative kind of thing versus just
Yeah,
the linear kind of here's this range, I have all these cards kind of thing. So
yeah,
yeah, I love it, and I hope you show more on your account. I think you've got like one or two reels on there or something, or posts that have
yeah,
them in there. But
yeah.
yeah, but I'd
There'll
love to
be
see more
more.
of them. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really cool kind of creative idea too. I've seen other people that have done like the tribute kind of thing where it's like all
hmm
princesses, or
Yes.
all from one franchise or something. um,
hmm
but to be able to have it where it's a little bit more like arranged and there's extra stuff in there, it's not just
Yeah.
cards, is kind of a cool idea. So
Yeah. Yeah, and it gives you like, because I've seen some people are like, oh, I got a gift box or I got the Illumineers trove, and they're like, what do I do with these dividers? You know, some people don't use the
Yes.
box as their storage
Yeah.
space, right? They like to keep it. Yeah, so it's like, this is so cool. I don't want to get rid of this. Or like even like I have some of the I thought I had one right here, but like the gateway cards, they're like little advertisements. It's
Oh,
like the
yeah.
shape of
Hmm.
it's like same dimension as a card, but it just says gateway, but there's a character illustration on the back, right?
Yep.
So you're like, oh, like you put that in there.
Yep.
I've even done where like I've cut because some of the Illumineers trove it has like the exterior wrapping, if that makes sense. It's like the
Hmm.
cardboard
Yeah, the
packaging,
little
and then
sleeve
you
thing.
have your
Yep.
actual trove box, right? So then like
Right.
I'll cut up that exterior packaging versus like throwing it away, or even the like these the packs like saving this artwork and slipping that in there. So it's kind of also like a upcycling
Yeah.
process as
Yeah.
well. So yeah, there's all sorts of things you could do to be a little extra creative with your collection. So
Yep.
yeah.
I and I forget who it is now, but I remember seeing pictures of it. That there was one of the other content creators. I think she's over in Europe. That
Hmm.
made like a skirt out of the wrappers for the booster
Yes.
packs, and I wish I could
Yes.
remember who that was. By the time I
Ah,
edit this, I'll find it again and put the
we'll
little
tag
picture.
it in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But shout out to her, man. That was like so creative. I saw that when I first started collecting and I was like, oh my, how long did it take to collect those? And I
Oh,
think she even said like, thank you to everyone who sent your packaging, or like the wrappers and stuff. I was like, that's amazing.
yeah. That's a lot of work. So yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are definitely a lot of creative people in this community. People that just
Yeah.
do illustration and stuff. We've got a lot of people that do the card alters. It's really
Hmm.
cool to see like the breadth of
Yeah.
of talent in this community. And what everybody kind of brings to the table.
Hmm.
There was I don't know if you've ever seen his videos. There was a content creator. He hasn't made one in a little while, but Chappie. I actually interviewed him
Okay.
forever ago now.
Yeah.
But he was the same way. He was like, we were totally geeking out over the art the entire
Yeah.
time. And he had some videos where he did the same kind of thing. Like he talked through the cards, he talked through the shape language and the different little highlights and stuff that they would put in there that, influenced how you kind of perceived it. And then, continuous art cards and all that stuff. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's really cool to to see all these different folks kind of bring their background and their love for specifically the art side of things to it because that is such
Yeah.
a huge part of the game. So
Hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. For
yeah.
sure. I 100% agree. For sure. It's a fun community. Everyone is super welcoming. I feel like when I first came in, um, like I said, I had a lot of like, seasoned Illumineers reach out and be like, don't use that binder. And then, or I would hop on the stories and I would be like, what does this mean? Why is this ink like this? What's
Yep.
evasive? Like, what is this? And like, I had at least like 6 or 7 people in my DMs and like just teaching me like in the
Hmm.
nicest way possible. And it was so lovely to have a community like that. And I think another question I had was like about promo, like because I was learning about the rarity and the icons at the bottom and stuff, and I was
Hmm.
like, "What's this one?" And there's like a handful of different promo type icons out there now, and yeah, so a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is what this one means," and this one was for the cruises, and this one's for film, and this one's
Yep.
for and I was like, "Oh my gosh, they have all sorts of promos," and yeah, so it's yeah, this community is definitely like super creative, very welcoming and I've absolutely loved that part of this. And it's another reason why I really enjoy creating the content that I create. Like, because like I'll create something that is kind of more generic, like Disney, and there's a couple of them like they're going viral, like tens of thousands. That's for me, that's viral. And
That's viral for a lot of people. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like, oh, that's amazing. But then I'll push out like an art of the glimmer, and I only get like a few hundred. But I'm like,
Yeah.
you're my people. Like you, like that is like, that's my crew right there. Is the ones that
Hmm.
appreciate that art, and they're there for the full 3 minutes. And
Yeah.
And I have a handful of people who will just be like, "Don't stop! Like your content is different. We really like it. Like keep going." And it's just such a heartwarming community. Or like when you do
Mhm.
something, because I feel like as content creators, we all have our doubts every once in a while, or be like, there's just trolls out there, and that nobody likes to be in that vulnerable position, or like have to like, kick the trolls out. I mean, anyway, do
Yeah.
what you want to do on your own platform, however you want to deal with the trolls. But
Yeah.
it's really reassuring, when someone is like, don't stop, like keep going. You're like, okay,
Mhm.
all right. If you've had an off day and they're like, yes, I love this. And you're like, okay, all right, I think
All
I'm,
right. All
all
right.
right,
Get
I'll
over the
keep
little
going.
hump and,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
A little confidence boost there. So,
Yeah. So I'm curious, speaking of the content that you make,
yeah.
why did you start the channel or the Instagram account?
That's a really good question because I was thinking back to like when I first got my also gift box,
Mhm.
and it was like day one. I like held two of the packs in my hand and I just took a quick photo. I was like, I'm gonna document this. I don't know why, but I got this. This is day one, and it was Valentine's Day, and I was just like, I don't know where this is gonna go, but I'm gonna create an Instagram because I like the Instagram. That's my platform that I prefer,
Mhm.
and then I started like learning all the things, and it just went, like I said, it's a slippery slope. Like if you're any sort of like remote, like just even a little bit of a Disney fan, it's really easy to get caught into it. And
Oh yeah.
but I think it also stems from like the fact that I'm a long time Disney fan. Like I said, from like childhood, and then even later on, like in college, like I participated as an intern in the Disney College program. So I got
Oh,
like
cool.
behind the scenes look at stuff, before it was posted, or like before social media went rampant, or before Disney Plus, because now I feel like you can watch a lot of the behind the scenes things like on Disney Plus now, and or like especially
Mhm.
for the parks. And so that's where like it just my love for Disney blossomed in that season too. And then life kind of happens a little bit, and I was encouraged to take like the graphic design route, and but still loving Disney along the way. So just I don't know, I think Disney just never really faded from me, but once like Disney Lorcana came into the picture, it just reignited
Yep.
even more so like the fan in me of like the art and the animation, and shape language and the creativity. And I also love to like learn about, like I shouldn't say pleasantly surprised. I should have known this, but like a lot of the artists that I followed years before, like 10, 12 years before Disney Lorcana came out, they're all reemerging back as artists because they were animators on the films, right? Or like at some point in
Okay.
time.
Right.
Um, and so like I would, look at some of the cards, or I'd be at an LGS looking at bulk, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I know this, like I don't know them, right? But I'm like, I follow these people. Like I'm like pulling out a dozen or so cards, like different illustrators, and I'm like, what? Like what? How did I not know that they were in this? And anyway, so I don't know. It's something that I'm just passionate about. I'm passionate
Mhm.
about the arts. I'm passionate about Disney. I'm passionate about um encouraging women to be in this space too, like as competitors and players and as creatives. Yeah, I think it's just a passion for that and the community. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, I don't know why I was just like, I'm gonna do this. I just feels like an exciting thing to do. And I did mention to my husband though when he gifted me the box, I was like, I think you've just unleashed a monster. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I think this is gonna go out of control. And there have been a couple
Mhm.
days where I'll come back from the store and he's like, "What did you get this time?" And I'm like,
It's
"Well,
like how many packs?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
fine. Don't worry about it. It's
Yeah, no,
fine."
no, I've been there. Yeah,
Yeah,
my wife is pretty tolerant, thankfully,
yeah,
because there are multiple times that I have come back with like 10 packs, and she kind of like looks and then goes back to what she's doing. like I'm like, okay, cool. All right, we're okay. We're good. So,
Yeah. I
but
think it evens out in our family because like I'll go wait in line for other, products for my family. And
yeah.
then while I'm there, I'm like, I'm just gonna snag a few from Disney
Yep.
Lorcana because no one's in line for this right now. Like not yet anyway. I'm sure at some point
Yeah.
it might be
Yeah.
hard to come by, but yeah, so it's been fun though. I think since he's reignited his collecting and then I've gotten into this, it's been fun. I feel like when he was younger, his parents were kind of like, "Oh, yeah, we give you, it's totally fine if you want to collect this stuff." And then I feel like my family was kind of more like, no, we don't do TCGs, like in the most
Yeah.
loving way possible, right? Like,
Yeah.
like I feel like there is that sentiment, or like every collector is aware of that, outside perspective. They
Yeah.
don't know what the value is or the joy that comes from it, right? And it's like this is a piece of cardboard, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
but it's so sometimes it's like, oh, that's not what it's about. It's fine. You don't have to understand. I like what I
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
But
Well, and
it's
it's
it's been fun giving each other permission to like heal that inner child in us a little bit.
yeah.
And so yeah, it's been but every once in a while, something will come in the mail and we're like, what did you get? Okay. And then it's like, all right, it's my turn now. I'm gonna go get my thing. And anyway,
Mm-hmm.
it's fun.
Especially if it's in a bubble mailer,
Yeah.
with the little extra padding. It's like,
Yeah, you're
all
like,
right, what is that?
extra valuable.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I've been there.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, when you started your channel, and I guess even now, there's a lot of creators that, they kind of have an idea in mind of where they want to go with it, any kind of goals that they have, or like even just what do I want my style to be, for it.
Hmm.
So I'm curious, do you have anything like that for yours? Or are you still, since you're still pretty early on, I don't know if that's something that you've thought about
Yeah.
yet, but I figured I'd ask.
Yeah, I feel like I have like a general direction with content creation. And it's like initially when I first started, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that would be so cool to be a caster." And I was like, I have no skin in the game, to be honest. Like as much as I love it and I've been trying to learn it and like I feel like I understand the basics, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I am just not at that level of like strategic, logical thinking, very much a creative brain here. And so, but yeah, I do want to continue on the path of like creating the artwork. The other day, I've been trying to be way more diligent about tagging the artists in like
Mm-hmm.
any chance that I can, because I've had a couple of them like, oh man, thank you for telling me that. I didn't realize you like this card. Like I didn't know. And I'm like, oh, like I think it was for a traveler card or something. And those are usually have really cool costume designs. And sometimes the
Mm-hmm.
illustrator does it and sometimes they don't. Well, this particular illustrator was like, I didn't know people liked it. And I'm like, oh, you should have been on the creative mainstream. Like people were raving about this card. Like you have a fandom for sure from Disney Lorcana. And they're like, oh my gosh, thank you. I didn't even know. Like, and I'm like, uh, there's a part of me that's like, yeah, we need to scream it from the rooftops to these artists, like how
Yeah.
loved their work is. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things that I want to be better at is just you know, loving the artists and being like, you guys are awesome. Like you guys are doing good stuff. Like don't stop. Just kind of like how the community is here with me with my content. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
let's pay that forward to the illustrators for sure. And then another like couple of thoughts that I've had run through my brain is like, especially with the Michi method and stuff like that, is really encouraging collectors to have that permission to be creative with their collections. And not just like creative with like the Michi method, but like if you do the Michi method, create your own artwork for it. Like
Yeah.
don't steal, don't run the cards through AI, generative AI and stuff. And I don't want to go into like political stuff with that, but like that, like creating your own artwork inspired off of a Disney Lorcana glimmer is probably a compliment in my opinion. Like if
Mm-hmm.
someone were to be like, "Oh, draw this in your style," and they were kind of like pulling from my own artwork or that like as inspiration and stuff, I'd be like, ah, that's so cool, like how you interpreted, we got like this whole new vibe. And I feel like doing something like that with the Michi method would be really cool. Just encouraging that creativity, whether you have skills or not.
Yeah.
Having it come, manifest itself in a different way. Or like even if it's like photography, there's a lot of really awesome Disney photographers out there, you know. Yeah, so like celebrating the artists, encouraging creativity is another one. Um, I feel like I had one more thought on this and I can't remember where it's at. But yeah, I don't really have like um I don't know, any expectations from, Ravensburger or Disney Lorcana, like partnering with them or, representing them. Like I don't know, like I love and respect the company and I would fully love to do something like that, but I don't want to, like I genuinely want to focus on the art. Like that's where my
Yeah.
passion is. I'm like, I really want to like make sure people know that. And if a partnership with Disney Lorcana and Ravensburger is a path, then that follows that passion or like aligns with some of my creative goals and like my passion for, sharing that creativity, then great, amazing. That would be such a fun partnership. Like, I've also thought about like at events, um, I've noticed that there's like sponsors for the artists, like
Hmm.
they're the ones
Yep.
that like pay for them to travel out there. And I'm like, oh, that would be so cool. And then like, be the one to be like, pick them up from the airport and then bring them to the event and like get to chat. Like I
That
get
would
to
be
behind the
super fun.
scenes, like hog that time with them, So I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I could be a sponsor. I'm like, I don't know if I have the financial means for that at this point in time, but like, or even just being like their host at an event. Do you know what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
there's so much that goes into event planning and stuff like that.
Oh
And
yeah.
um, yeah, I wouldn't mind taking a role in something like that, like on a local level. Yeah, traveling sounds amazing to me too. But yeah, so those are just kind of like, I don't want to say it's the dream, but like those would be really cool adventures to go on that,
Yeah.
might be just like a stepping stone to something else. And yeah, so I mean, and I think there's another aspect of it too, because I do have another account for just my artwork. Like I'm
Hmm.
an illustrator and an artist as well, and I'm trying to get kind of break into that industry a little bit more. And it's a scary thing to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I would love to be a Disney Lorcana artist. Like that would be like peak for me. And I feel like in this season of life that I'm in, that journey is probably going to be slow. And I'm okay with that. Like I want like steady and slow and purposeful and um but yeah, like I think that would be a really, really neat experience. And just, learning from some of the best people that have developed the Disney Lorcana TCG art style and everything. So, but yeah, for the Glimmer Gallery, it's just definitely like focusing on the artists and Disney Lorcana art and shape language for now. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. And I'm always curious about this too. So since you kind of started up in February, is there anything in particular that you've learned or have found the hardest thing so far?
Hmm.
Usually most people have one thing at least. So
I
usually
feel
it's
like
like,
previously I brought
I
it
just
up
started
too.
posting content and I didn't realize it was going to be this much work, or, that kind of thing.
Well, to be fair, I have been in the Instagram game for a while, and I mean, I'm
Hmm.
not like I don't have very many numbers to like prove, but I've been on like my art account on Instagram has been around for a long time. So like I've seen the algorithm shift and change, and I feel like with the Glimmer Gallery, I'm kind of like, not that I'm like an expert at uh Instagram, but I'm like I have a little bit more confidence. I'm like I know a little bit of like what to expect or like how the platform shifts or like I don't own this
Hmm.
platform, this is not it's a free, content creation space, but it's going to change, it's going to shift. It is a lot of work. Like currently right now I'm trying to do like a 100-day challenge, and then for another, like my art account's like a 70-day challenge where it's like you're posting every day, and it's
Oh my gosh.
incredibly demanding. And I'm trying to make it as simplified as I possibly can at this point. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of work. It is so much work. I was actually gonna get into like the hardest thing for me, because I think I mentioned this to you before. It was like, oh, like meta and strategies and like the
Yeah.
playability part, because my brain, I've played a couple times online and with I try to play with my husband in person and whatnot, and my brain, first of all, it like just gets bogged down trying to just read a card because I've never built a deck yet. That's probably my hardest thing right now. Like, um, Lorcana Collectors did like a me and 9 Disney Lorcana cards, and that kind of got
Oh
my
yeah.
juices like flowing.
Hmm.
I was like, oh my gosh, I think I could build a deck now, and I still haven't done it. I was like, it just gave me that boost, but yeah, so. I haven't taken the time to like sit down and like build a deck. Um, but yeah, I know that I just get so distracted with the artwork too while
Yeah.
I'm playing. Like it is it's it's like Doug on Up. It's like squirrel. Like I will just be like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, did you notice the shape language on this thing? And then like, oh, look at that feature. And like the person's like, oh my, and so far no one's
Like, just
really
play
been
the
mean.
card. Yeah.
Yeah, no one has ever been mean, but I am guaranteed if I played somebody, I would go on that tangent really hard, really fast. So,
Yeah. Yeah, you
yeah,
might get a little pushback at like a DLC or, if
yeah,
at the Glimmer Games or something like that. That there might
yeah,
be a little bit more at a competitive event, but
yeah,
League, LGS kind of level, I'm sure
yeah,
most people are kind of like, yeah, I get it, you know.
yeah,
They may
yeah.
not be
So
quite to the same level, but
yeah, so I would definitely consider myself a social player versus like competitive. So I have never pictured myself at like competing at an event. I'm fully on board
yeah,
for an attendee. Bring it on. I will be the best attendee and cheerleader. And I haven't done cosplay yet, but what is it called? Bounding, Disney
hmm,
bounding. Like I
yep,
will do all the things. In fact, at the Glimmer Games, I got second place in the speed puzzling with a random stranger that I'd never met before. So yeah, speed
nice.
puzzling I will
There you go.
attempt, but yeah, the competitive stuff maybe someday, but for right now, I got to get a deck.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, and completely fair, most people like, especially if they haven't played a TCG before, or even one that's like Lorcana,
Hmm.
um, it's a hurdle, right? To get
Yeah.
to that point where you can actually look at a bunch of cards and say, I get this, I get why this is a deck, and I get how this
Yes.
works. It's a whole
Yeah.
different thing than just socially enjoying the
Yeah.
game and being like, yeah, I put together a princess deck because I like the way they look, and there was enough
Hmm.
for each for each ink, that it
Yeah.
worked out to 60 cards or whatever. But
Yeah. For
yeah,
sure.
it's and it's cool though that we have a game that we can play that has that level of flexibility, that you
Hmm.
can make these decks that are princess themed, or to like a madrigal deck, or anything like that, and it's completely
Yeah.
accepted. Now
Hmm.
you're not going to go very far in a competitive event with that stuff, but
Yeah.
and leagues even have like movie nights, or
Yes.
they have where you
Like
can
like
play
theme
any ink
stuff.
color, and you
Yeah.
can have any cards you want, basically.
Yeah.
um it's really cool to have that, where there is kind of that level of focus on on the art, on the the things that kind of bind the game together, I guess.
Yes.
you know
Yeah. Yeah.
so
And I feel like that in and of itself is a whole new level of creativity, right?
mhm.
Especially for like our more logically minded friends who are good at strategy and they are good at building decks. Like that, I'm like, tip my hat to those people. You
I
got,
mean,
yeah,
right.
that's so cool. Like I love it when LGS does like a themed night and stuff like that. And yeah,
Mhm.
when I first discovered that there's a themed night, I was like, what? You can do that? Like, I just, yeah, I love discovering all the new things. I'm like, I'm just like a little kid in a candy shop with this, and I don't think it's ever gonna
Mhm.
go away or end. Like all the things that I keep learning with Disney Lorcana. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and there'll be a constant new supply of, new art to look
Yeah.
at, new things to enjoy, new things to learn.
Yes.
I know
Yeah.
they try to focus on keeping it, relatively simple and approachable and stuff, but
Hmm.
as it goes along, the game is going to evolve and it's going to get more complicated. But
Yeah.
hopefully they keep that level of, we want to keep this accessible to somebody who's just starting out, and just
Yeah.
really learning about TCGs.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of like new stuff and new releases and whatnot, do you have any like high hopes or expectations for Attack of the Vine coming up? Or like, what are you most excited about for that?
I haven't really looked at it too much, to be honest. I
Okay.
mean, I've seen some of the previews that they've shown on the, the Lorecast and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still enjoying the current set, just
Wild
because it's
Unknown.
it's
It's so good.
yeah, it is. It's super fun, and and it's stuff like the toys deck. I mean, it's fun to play. It's probably
Yeah.
not going to like go very far in a competitive event, but it's super fun. And
Yeah.
just to have it where it's got that synergy that's kind of a different level of of gameplay where you're not like I have to pull all these cards together and they need to work together, and if I play this card then this one, then I get an extra thing on
Yeah.
this one, all sorts of things that can happen. But to just like look at it and say, I love Toy Story. It was a great movie. Or it still is a great movie. Um,
Yeah.
that when it first came out, it was like this revolutionary thing, and now to like relive that through the cards and be like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about all the toys that were in it.
Yeah.
Now we
Yeah.
have all these different cards for them, and it's it
Yeah.
like brings back these great memories from it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's always really cool for me.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, well, and what you were saying about the toys, like bringing back all these toys, I thought it was great during reveal season when some content creators revealed like Sid's toys, like Baby
Mm-hmm.
Head and
Yeah.
a few of the other ones, like Jingle Man or something like that. I can't remember, but
Oh,
he's the one that's on
Jingle
like the
Bob,
rotator
or
thing. Oh,
yeah,
Jingle
yeah,
Bob, is
yeah.
that what it is?
I think
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but it's just like there was, I don't know, maybe if you're extra like knowledgeable with Toy Story, you knew those names already. But I feel like the vast majority of us did not know those had names to
Yeah.
them. I didn't, and I was just like, oh, that's what that's called. Okay, all right, that toy has a name now. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I loved in this set when I think it's Sid is a legend. He's a legendary. One of
Mm-hmm.
his
Yeah.
cards is legendary, and
Yeah.
he's
The
got the
Ruby one, I
magnifying
think.
glass.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So Ruby is known for like sharps, and oftentimes those sharps, like shape language, is like a weapon typically.
Mm-hmm.
And but his weapon of choice is the magnifying glass, and I was just like that is so good. Like, and it's round, so like I was thrown for a loop when I saw it, but I'm like, it still counts as a weapon, and it
Yeah.
burns. Like
Yeah.
it's
In
it it's
fairness,
it
yeah.
follows the Ruby like character traits, and
Yeah.
so. But I was a little bit confused when I saw that one, but I'm like, I see what you did there. That is the
Yep.
weapon. The magnifying glass is
Yeah.
the weapon.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting to see how they kind of blend those styles sometimes.
yeah.
So like, I've noticed sometimes you'll have stuff from the same franchise in, in different ink colors, and they
Mhm.
kind of try to like bring in different things to kind of unify them a little bit, some
Mhm.
styles and everything. Including like, I mean, we got Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, which is they're all amethyst, but
Yeah.
I love the continuous art stuff, to have it on the foils and
Oh,
everything. I just
that
wish
one
that
blew
like
my mind.
my binder was wider so that I could,
Yeah.
have the full thing.
The
But
full thing.
but
Yeah.
maybe I'll figure out something with the Michi method and make like a custom thing for it. So
There you go.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's really cool. I appreciate that they did that. I think it was a nice addition to just having the regular cards, and the fact that it's the foils too makes it even
Mhm.
like a little extra special because it's a little harder to get those. They're
Yeah.
even the commons and uncommons. It's just harder to find.
Mhm.
And completing that full. I think I'm like one or two cards away from the full Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs thing. So,
No
um,
way.
oh
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I might spend too much on product. But it's so much fun to open. I just,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man, the dopamine, the
uh,
anticipation.
Yep.
It's strong. It's strong.
Yeah, it is, but it's fun. It's, you know, and
Yeah.
especially like when the new set is released, you know, you get like
Hmm.
if you get a box or, you know, you even get like, you know, 10 packs or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, just to be able to have them and you're like, "Oh my gosh, holding them in your hand, what's going to be in here?" You know.
Yeah.
And you kind of you hope for the extra shiny in the back and you
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
but yeah, it's really cool, and to see, you know, adding on the iconics and the style for those, you know, it seems like they kind of follow the Enchanteds a little bit, but they always have like a little extra something to them.
Yes.
It seems like
Yeah.
I love the Buzz Lightyear from this set. Um, somebody was
Stellar.
looking, somebody at my LGS actually pulled it, and we were looking at it, and we were like, oh, it doesn't glow in the dark. Because when you look
Yeah.
at it, it looks like the green
Yeah.
on it looks like it glows in the dark, which is kind of
Yes.
wild for a card that, you know, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
shiny cardboard, but but it's really
Yeah, yeah, the
cool.
foiling, they did such a good job with it. I remember that when the reveal was like posted and it was like live and everyone's like, it goes in
Hmm.
the dark. And
Yeah,
then I think like a moderator was like, it doesn't go,
it
and
doesn't
everyone's
glow
like,
in the dark.
oh darn, like missed opportunity, but
I know, right?
I'm a part of me is kind of like willing to bet and speculate. I'm like, glow in the dark is gonna come now, like because everyone was like so stoked about it,
Yep.
but I can't speak for Disney Lorcana Ravensburger, but that would be amazing to have some glow in the dark or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
on the cards. So, uh, but yeah, it's still. I mean, even without the glow in the dark, the way they did like the foiling on that glimmer, because like foiling is one of those things you have to take a lot into consideration, like with how the light hits it and getting the right
Hmm.
foil pigment. Just like I've only done foiling a couple of times, like for me personally, like for a specific project and going to a printer and working with them and going through the layers and be like, this is the foil layer, like work with me, kind of a thing.
Hmm.
And it's hard, like because anyway. And so the fact that they got that right green that made it look like that glow in the dark green is like, dang, you like nailed it, like
Yep.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I have to say, I love it's one of the side effects of it, but we had somebody at our LGS. They came in and they were like, "Okay, guys, you got to check this out. This is awesome." And so I think it was Whispers
okay.
when they had the was that the one where they introduced the epics, or was that one before that? I forget. But whenever they had the epics, I think it was the epic specifically for Whispers. They were like,
Hmm.
"Come here!" And so we all like went into the bathroom and huddled, you know, huddled around and closed the door. And he pulled out a black light and he turned it on, and the epics like
Yeah,
shone. They like glowed in the dark and
it's like
everything because of the
UV.
foiling and the yeah and
Yes,
everything.
yeah, it's like the black light. Yeah, someone
Yeah,
had told me that, and I was like, I've never heard that before, and I don't
yeah.
know, like, because I'm trying to remember what conversation this was. I haven't researched that enough, to be fair. I don't know if that's just like a default UV reaction, like if they
Hmm.
just use the same like to get that glare kind of feel, or if that was intentionally like we want this to glow with UV light. Do you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? I'm like
yeah,
I don't know if that was intentional or accidental, and there's a part of me that's like I hope it's intentional because
yeah.
that's really cool. Like let's do
Especially
that
for
again.
Whispers, that would be really, you
Yeah,
know, that was a really cool kind of find. But
yeah, yeah.
I don't
So
think the Enchanteds did though. So if I
okay,
assume the foiling is a little bit different, like the technique and everything. So
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll have to. I don't know if I have any whispers in my collection because my collection's still pretty small. I'm
yeah,
still new, but
it'll get there.
I'll have to see if I have something. Yeah, it's coming along pretty fast. But yeah, it'd be really cool to like see and test that out. And I'd have to go like buy a black light and do all the things. But I
Yeah,
I was curious too because I'm like, is that for every UV or just that set? Like I said, was it accidental
yeah.
or
I don't
intentional?
know.
But it's still
I
pretty
haven't.
cool either way,
Yeah, and I don't have a UV light myself, and so I can't test some of the other
right?
ones. But now maybe I will have to pick one up
Now we
just to
might
see.
invest. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. They're not that expensive, right? They're pretty cheap.
I don't
Mm.
think so. I mean, I imagine you could just get like a little flashlight or something, like just
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little
that's what he
guy.
had. It was like
So
a regular flashlight on one side and like a UV,
yeah,
you know, black light
yeah,
thing on the other.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah.
So
Well,
Super
hey,
cool.
Nichole, I have had a great time geeking out with you over some of the art
Yeah.
stuff, and love to hear about content creation from a new creator. It's always nice to kind of hear, a new story, a new perspective
Yeah.
on it, because there's so many people in this community that, not only are new to TCGs, but are very new to content creation. And so,
Yeah.
it's really cool to be able to talk to people and, and get their stories and everything. So, yeah, I appreciate you taking the time today. I'm glad it kind of, worked within your schedule there and everything.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm super glad it worked out. It's been a blast geeking out with you. We should do it again sometime. So
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so I do want to end with the same four questions. Well, one's not a question technically, but same four
yeah.
questions that I ask everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so this may be hard to narrow down. Favorite favorite ink and card right now.
uh, okay, well, I can at least narrow it down to two inks for you, and
Okay.
I am definitely sapphire amethyst. So
Okay.
I'm a
Hmm.
blurple girly. Here, like if I were to build a deck, that's probably what it would be. Um, and favorite card right now? Ah, man, uh, I have to like it's anyway. I'll just say this: I love Elsa. I
Yeah.
love Sisu. My
Hmm.
eyeballs are very attracted to those cool magical tones, like
Yep.
sapphire, amethyst. They have magentas in there, so anytime there's that in there, I'm like, or like periwinkle is my favorite color. It's like this color. It's like, is it blue? Is
Okay.
it purple? Like, um, and Elsa does that a lot. She's got a
Hmm.
lot of fun stuff. This is me showing my lack of knowledge or memory. There's an Elsa Enchanted from Winterspell. I can't remember her like sub
Oh, was she
name.
an enchanted or a? I forget.
She
Now I have to look.
Ice Artisan.
Yes. Yeah, that's
Elsa
the one.
Elsa Ice Artisan, and there's a legendary
Yeah.
version and an enchanted version.
Hmm.
I love both of those. Like that whole gown that she wears, that Nicholas
Hmm.
Cole, I think it was Nicholas Cole that designed
Yeah.
that. I'm like, someone make me that dress. I will wear that every day. It is so beautiful. And that's not my normal colors that I gravitate to. That one's a little bit warmer, but I do like those teals and those aqua tones. Anyway, that's probably my favorite card. I think second is probably um, All Is Found, also in the
Mm-hmm.
Frozen 2 franchise, where it's like Queen Aduna and the two girls, and
Hmm.
they're snuggling up to mom and she's, about to sing the lullaby. I love that glimmer. Again, in the same color palette, what else can I do in this last set with
Yeah,
Isabella?
that's a
I'm
great
like,
one.
yeah, I'm like, really, that's my chase. I'm like, that would be amazing if I could get that one or trade for it. Like, I'd probably trade. It wouldn't be an equal trade. If I found like something more valuable, I'd be like, I want that card. Someone please take my more valuable card.
It's
Take my
like
money. Take
I
my,
pulled
yeah.
an iconic, but I really want that
I
enchanted.
want
So
Isabella. um, So yeah, so that's kind of the vibe. Can't
yep,
narrow it down to one at this point. But yeah.
completely okay. Yeah. Yeah, I have lots of people that have a really hard time with that one. Just and especially as the sets go on and there's more options.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then you get the
There's
people that
so
are
many.
like, "This is my favorite card. It will always
Yeah,
be my favorite card."
they know.
Um,
Yeah,
so, all
yeah.
right, next question. Favorite Disney movie and why? And
Uh,
you don't have to narrow it down to just one. You can do like two or three.
yeah,
Because
it's a
I
collection.
I say that because there's a lot of people that they grew up with like The Lion King and and that
Yeah,
kind of
like
Renaissance area
nostalgic.
or era,
Yeah.
and then they
Hmm.
have something that they like from like the last 5 years. So doesn't have to
Yeah.
be just one. You can name like two or something.
Yeah, I've got a few that are bouncing in my brain right now. Mulan, I think will always be a favorite for me. Not just for the nostalgia. I think it was one of those films too that I wouldn't say I was deprived from, but I was definitely not there when it released. We didn't own it for the longest time. But I knew the whole plot in the movie because I would go to friends' houses, like as a teenager. Like
Yeah.
I loved Disney, so I would wear Disney. Disney wasn't cool when I was a teenager at my school, so I was like, anyway. and I would geek out about Mulan. Like I loved Mulan. I loved the story behind it. I loved how empowering it was as like for females. Like it wasn't about Prince
Hmm.
Charming, you know? Like it was just
Yep.
like I'm gonna, honor my family and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that really it just resonated with me. And yeah, so and I love the creators behind it too. The Bancroft brothers are some of my favorite
Hmm.
animators and illustrators. So yeah, Mulan's one of them. And I really love uh, right now, like more modern, I guess. Uh, and my daughter keeps pulling it up for me because like this film makes me cry and like makes me so happy every time I see it. It's
Yeah.
Elemental. Um,
Oh
I
yeah, that's a
just
good
like
one.
I'm like I don't know what it is. I mean like I'm not a second gen like immigrant by any means, but I feel like that film was just like so eye-opening to the
Hmm.
position second generation immigrants are in. And I've lived abroad for a long stint of time and I understand third world countries a little bit more. And so like watching that, like I just cry like all the time. Like my daughter's like, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" I'm like, "They're happy tears," or
It's
like,
okay.
"He's
Yeah.
just so nice. Like he sacrifices himself, like all these things." And I'm just like, "Oh, it's so good." And it's so like, and the world building in that is just phenomenal. Like, kind of
Hmm.
like in Zootopia where they're getting these different not only like they're elements. Like, how do you create
Yeah.
a world that works with elements? And like same thing with animals and stuff. I feel like we've seen that more for animals, like in storybooks and stuff. But they still do a
Hmm.
phenomenal job with Utopia. And Elemental was just like, whoa, like taking it to the next level, like Disney does.
Yep.
And then I think for comedy's sake, Emperor's New Groove. Like you
Always a
can't go
classic.
wrong, man. Like
Yep.
that's such a great film. Yeah. I'll just do one more nostalgia,
Yep.
nostalgia sick. Oh man, now there's more that are coming into my head. Okay, super fast. Great Mouse Detective. I
Okay.
genuinely thought Sherlock was based off of Basil of Baker Street when I was
Okay.
younger. I'm like, oh my gosh, Sherlock is Basil, and everyone's like, no, Nicole,
No,
like
it's the other way
other
around.
way around. Sherlock came first. And I'm like, nah, like, no, Basil came first. Um, and then Big Hero 6. I just,
Always good.
that's such a good one.
I've seen
So,
that movie
okay.
entirely too many times. So yeah.
Oh, so good. It's so, so good. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, anyway, I have to stop there though. There's others. There's so many others, but yeah, those are some of the favorites. So, yeah.
Nice. Nice. Awesome. I have to admit, there's a couple in there that I have not heard as picks from people before. So it's always nice
Oh, okay.
to get a little
Very
variety in
cool.
there. Yeah,
Yeah. Yes.
I get a lot of Lion King and and stuff like that. That's why I mentioned it because a lot of people
It's
are like,
so
"Oh yeah,
good. I
Lion
mean, that
King,"
one's
because it's yeah, it was like the
that
formative years of Disney for a lot of people. So
it what Lion King was like transformational. I love the Lion King. I love the Broadway even more.
yes, oh,
Which
it's
is
so good.
like not to get like spiritual or anything, but it is like it touches your soul, man. Like that
Hmm.
that Broadway. And I not to get super personal, but the time I watched it, I just experienced a miscarriage. And
Mm.
so like it was very healing to
Yeah,
like watch
yeah.
that and just be like, ah, like this is so good. And just yeah, it was really yeah, I love the Broadway. And I grew up with like Rhythm of the Pride Lands, like the soundtrack, not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we had the Lion King music, but like Rhythm of the Pride Lands is like more expounded in the Broadway. So like
Hmm.
I remember listening to that and being like, this is good stuff. But
Yep, yep.
yeah, I mean, let's throw Lion King on the list, and I'm just kidding.
It's like
It,
20 movies long. It's
I
like,
know it's
I
so hard
mean,
to pick.
it really is, honestly. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's got like one or two that they really like connect with. But
Hmm.
there's just so many that are so good,
Yeah.
and that's my comfort space is when a new set comes out and I get my product. I am sitting at the table upstairs with a Disney movie on. And it's usually one of the same kind of ones that I have on repeat, and that
Yeah.
basically my kids will walk past and they'll be like, "You're watching that again?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
it's only been 20 times. So, I got
Yeah.
to keep going, right?"
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. Next sort of question. Give a shout out to your LGS that you've been to and like playing at.
Oh man, to confession, I've never played at an LGS before.
No.
I've I've actually walked in to a lot of them in my
Okay.
community. So I'm in the Sacramento area, and I've been to like at least a dozen of them, even while they were like playing Lorcana stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have yet to like actually sit down and play though. But one of them, one I will give a shout out to, mostly because they've helped with events, and I've met a lot of the people that go there. Is Constellation Collective.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really popular one in the Sacramento area. I've been there once, no, twice. Anyway, but just browsing. Like I haven't sat down, like I said. But they played a pretty big role in the Glimmer games,
Yep.
and the people who participate and play there they did a phenomenal job. So like shout out to them.
Nice.
Um, I will say one other shop that I've really liked is Great Escape Games, I think is what it's
Mm.
called.
Okay.
They just have an abundance of bulk cards, and I absolutely appreciate that, especially as a new collector, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
more seasoned collectors might not really care for that, but like absolutely could spend all day, all day just going through bulk cards there.
Yeah.
So yeah, Great Escape Games is a good one.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. And last question. Where can people find you and your content?
Yeah, so if you want Disney Lorcana TCG content, it's the Glimmer Gallery. Gallery is spelled with an IE, like
Mm-hmm.
French, fancy French, maybe. I don't really know if that's actually how you spell gallery in French, but it's cute. Anyway, so the Glimmer Gallery, if you want to see my art content, it's by Nichole Marie. Nichole is spelled with an H. I also have a website at it's bynicolemarie.com. And so I usually, when I post something like Disney related that's on my art account, I usually collab and like cross
Mm-hmm.
post and cross promote. So you won't miss the Disney stuff on the art if you're following the Glimmer Gallery. But yeah, that's where you can find me. So I might branch out someday, but for now, it's just on Instagram and my websites. So
Hey, it's hard being on multiple platforms. It's a
it's so
lot.
hard. Yeah, it's a
Yep.
lot. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thank you again so much. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you taking the
Yeah.
time. It was great to talk to you. And yeah, we'll see you around the community.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chris. It was a pleasure.
Well, I always enjoy talking with fellow content creators, and especially those newer to the journey, like Nichole. So if you like the show, make sure to subscribe, rate, or like the show in your platform of choice. If you'd like to reach out to the show, you can find us on all the socials at Inkwell Lounge, or you can find a full list of links at inkwelllounge.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.